And now to Apple, which was a drag on the broader market today following its earnings result last night. As we reported, the world's most valuable company posted its third straight quarter of revenue declines. And as investors focus on where the company will find its next leg of growth, there's one big obstacle standing in its way. Josh Lipton has our story.
Last quarter, Apple sold fewer phones than it did in the previous year and made less money. But the company is hoping the new iPhone 7, introduced in late September, will turn that around. Apple CEO Tim Cook says that he could not be more excited about customer response to the new iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus models. But there is a problem. Demand right now for some models is actually exceeding supply. In other words, consumers might want that new iPhone 7 Plus, but that doesn't mean there is one to buy. Analysts on the company's conference call asked Cook when will he be able to meet that demand. By the end of this quarter, Cook says it isn't totally clear, at least right now.
It's hard to say. I believe that on iPhone 7 we will. On iPhone 7 Plus, I'm not sure. I wouldn't say yes at this point because the underlying demand looks extremely strong on both products, but particularly on the iPhone 7 Plus versus our forecast going into the product launch.
The challenge of not being able to meet demand right now is evident in Apple's Q1 guidance. The tech giant expects revenue of between $76 and $78 billion. Piper's Gene Munster says that guidance implies unit growth of about 1%. Now that does suggest an iPhone business that is stabilizing and even growing, albeit very modestly. But after the stock jumped 20% in the past 3 months, modest wasn't good enough for some investors. There are two ways to look at Apple's challenge. If Apple remains supply constrained, then that has a negative impact on overall growth. The company can only sell what it has to offer customers. On the other hand, analysts say that what's important is that there is demand for these new iPhones.
The good news here is that iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus demand is really high. And that makes sense because Apple essentially didn't leave a stone unturned when it came to the phone. And the reason why that's important is because without demand, you can't meet it with supply.
Apple bulls are now making the bet that Tim Cook will figure out this production problem eventually. And when that happens, so they argue, this iPhone franchise will return to much stronger growth in the quarters ahead. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Josh Lipton, San Francisco.